In the year 1920, Fifohazana was born to Malandi and Baunilava in the village of Mandrundra and district of Manakara. By the time of her death in 1998, Fifohazana was the most famous and influential church leader on the island. At the age of 10, Fifohazana began having dreams. In her dreams, a tall, large, white man carries her to a stone building, washes her feet in a basin, rocks her to sleep. In another, she is caught up to heaven in a net. The voice of Jesus, although she does not know his name, began to come to her, and she was able to tell people things about themselves or about their conversations which Jesus had told her privately. This astounded people, but still she had not heard a Christian message that might allow her to decode what was happening to her. Her father, using the lots that he cast, discovered that the reason she rejected all marriage proposals, once of marriageable age, was that she was dedicated to the Great Spirit from above. He stopped pressuring her for a while. Finally, in 1936, at the age of 16, she was married off to a Lutheran catechist, Moshe Tsirefu, a 61-year-old widower with many children, after a catechumenate of 6 months and baptism. Her training was continued in her husband's village of Ankaramalaza, the site that would later become her Jubilee Bay, or her Grand Camp. At the end of that time, she was baptized, and she adopted the Christian name Germaine. Fifohazana Germaine was a big woman, and during her early years as an evangelist, some in the crowds began to taunt her, calling her Neni Lava, tall mother. She liked the name, and it stuck. Neni Lava never learned to read and write in the conventional sense. She protested to Jesus that she could not do the work to which she was called because she knew herself to be uneducated. At the age of 12, Neni Lava had a dream that Jesus brought her to a large church and sat her in the front in a chair. There was a crowd of people in the church, and at one point Jesus escorted Neni Lava to the pulpit and preached to the people, with Neni Lava standing next to him. No one was allowed to sit in the chair she vacated, and a white cloth was left there to signify her occupation of the chair. When Jesus had finished his sermon, he turned to Neni Lava and told her that she would preach like this. Then he escorted her back to her chair. There was a final hymn, and with that she awoke. The symbolism is clear and direct. Fifohazana Germaine would be the voice of Jesus. Her chair, that is her authority to teach, could not be taken by another. Jesus is not an easy master in the visions recorded by her biographer. When she is reluctant to leave heaven in the vision cited above, he shows her the fires of hell. When she refuses to stop speaking to an individual who does not accept her spiritual gifts, even after Jesus has commanded her to stop speaking, Jesus says to her, "Hey, are you naughty and therefore not able to accept the words spoken to you?" Not an easy master, Jesus proves to be a thorough teacher for Fifohazana. For 3 months, Jesus taught her tongues, various tongues. It is in tongues that Jesus will speak to her for the remainder of her ministry, and it is with the use of tongues that Jesus teaches her Holy Scripture. The most striking image of all, however, is the equipment that Jesus uses for her instruction. Her biographer describes it like this. There was a white blackboard which was hung in the house for her instruction. It was on that white blackboard that Jesus wrote the words taught her. The writing was also white, which was written on the board. It was not with crosswise writing like ours, but descending writing, like the Chinese with which Jesus wrote there on that board. When it was not on his white blackboard, then Jesus used a book with very white and very thin pages. If Neni Lava kneeled and hunched over the book, she could barely read the white letters printed there. White letters on a white board or on a white page running up and down rather than left and right, all for the teaching of an unknown spoken language with which Jesus would communicate to Neni Lava for the remainder of her ministry through speech. The stories of Nani Lava's language learning are fascinating. While Jesus came to her during her language acquisition period, Nani Lava goes to Jesus through death for the learning of Scripture. She is told that she will die on a Friday at 11 a.m., and so she calls the Christians in the local congregations to come and attend her, which they do. While in the midst of a wake-like service, she slips off into death and enters heaven, where Jesus teaches her for 3 days. Her biographer goes on to say that Nani Lava learned Scripture the way the disciples did on the road to Emmaus, that is, directly from Jesus and from beginning to end. Jesus brings her to heaven 7 times before her period of instruction is finished, and thereafter Jesus is continually in her ear, whispering to her that which she should preach. Nani Lava's movement spread throughout the island, and there are many smaller camps with thousands of people offering themselves as leaders in the awakening movement known as shepherds. As I stated earlier, there are very few options for someone suffering from mental illness in Madagascar, and this movement provides the only true loving care available. In a study done by the Malagasy Lutheran Church in 2004, it was determined that the group having the biggest evangelistic impact was the awakening. Nani Lava may have died in 1998, but her work goes on and on.